Chosen one, unlimited money access. Granted, God's new system. You have found this video because you were meant to. This isn't a coincidence. This is divine alignment. The title you just read isn't a metaphor. It's a revelation. You are no longer a seeker. You are the receiver. The system that once kept you out, denied you abundance, and made you feel like you had to chase money is gone. It is being replaced by a new system, God's system, where chosen ones no longer live in survival, but step into unlimited flow. This is the time when everything begins to shift in your favor, without strain, without begging, without proving yourself to anyone. The door is already open, and this video is your message to walk through it. Before we begin, make sure to watch this video until the end. Everything in this message is carefully aligned to help you shift mentally, emotionally, and spiritually into the frequency of divine provision. This is not about hype. This is a real energetic transmission. Comment below with your warmest wishes and write the number 99. This tells the universe you are ready to align with this energy and claim your divine inheritance. When you do that, you activate a hidden switch inside you. Wishes begin to come true. Doors you didn't know existed start opening. And most importantly, you begin to feel the universal current of abundance supporting you, lifting you, and guiding you to exactly where you need to be. Now listen carefully. This is not about becoming greedy or obsessed with money. It is about awakening to the truth that God has designed a system far more powerful than the one controlled by fear, limitation, and lack. The old system made you believe that you had to compete for resources, sacrifice your soul to survive, and that wealth was only reserved for a selected elite. But the truth is, you are the elite. You are the hidden royalty walking among the crowd. You've been kept in the shadows not because you were unworthy, but because your activation had to happen at the perfect time. And that time is now. The new system is not run by human hands. It's governed by divine intelligence, and it responds not to effort, but to energy. You don't gain access to it by working harder, but by aligning deeper. The chosen ones will be the first to feel this shift. Your intuition has already been whispering it to you. You've been sensing that the old way doesn't work anymore. You've grown tired of trying to fit into a box you were never meant to be in. That exhaustion you feel isn't laziness. It's your soul rejecting a system that no longer serves your destiny. Unlimited money access doesn't mean money rains down without purpose. It means that all resistance to your divine wealth is being removed. You were never meant to chase money. You were meant to be magnetic to it. The opportunities, connections, ideas, and resources you need are already orbiting you right now. The only thing that separates you from them is your alignment. And alignment isn't about faking positivity. It's about returning to your divine identity. This identity isn't something you have to create. It's something you remember. You are not a slave to money. You are a commander of it. In God's system, money is not your master. It's your tool. You use it to build, to serve, to express, and to elevate. In this system, money doesn't change who you are. It amplifies your purpose. And that's why only the chosen ones are being granted this access. Because you've been refined, you've been humbled, you've been tested in the fire of scarcity, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. Now comes the moment when you stop apologizing for wanting more. When you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. When you stop rejecting your own blessing because you're afraid of being judged. This moment is not just about receiving. It's about remembering who you are. You are not a beggar in God's kingdom. You are a distributor of divine resources. And the supply flowing to you will not stop, because your mission will not stop. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you honor your assignment, the more the universe rearranges itself to support you. This is not prosperity through manipulation. This is provision through alignment. You don't need to hustle your way to the top. You were created to rise. The moment you stop asking, "How will I survive?" and start declaring, "I am here to thrive," the system responds, not with delay, but with immediacy, because you're no longer outside of it, you're inside the flow. Money becomes like oxygen, always around you, always available, always moving in the direction of purpose. Understand this: your worth was never tied to your bank account. But now, your bank account is starting to reflect your worth. Not because you finally deserve it, but because the resistance is gone. The fear is fading. The doubts are dissolving. And your true essence is emerging. That essence is powerful. That essence is unstoppable. That essence is wealthy beyond measure, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. Money is energy, and God's new system moves through energy. It is precise, intelligent, and personalized. You don't have to mimic someone else's strategy. You don't have to chase someone else's dream. All you have to do is say yes to your own divine timeline. Trust the inner call. Follow the inspired nudges. Take the action that feels aligned, not forced. Rest when you are called to rest. Move when you are called to move. And speak abundance into every step you take. When you do this, money starts to notice you. Not because you are louder than others, but because your frequency is clearer. You no longer carry desperation. You carry destiny. And destiny is magnetic. You'll notice money coming from directions you never expected. People offering support you didn't even ask for. Projects succeeding with less effort than before. This is not magic. It is spiritual alignment. This is what the new system looks like. It is not based on domination, but elevation. You are not climbing over others. You are rising with grace. You are not stepping on heads. You are lifting others as you ascend. Because in this system, there is no scarcity, only supply. And the more you access, the more you create for others. You become a lighthouse in a world that's been lost in the storm of lack. You become a signal to others that there is another way. The wealth you receive is sacred. It comes with purpose, power, and peace. It doesn't demand your soul. It supports your soul. It doesn't trap you. It frees you. You don't sacrifice your values to gain it. You fulfill your values through it. This is divine economy. And it operates beyond inflation, beyond markets, beyond external systems. It moves through you. And once you open yourself to it, there's no going back. This is your moment to activate it. Don't let doubt cancel your blessing. Don't let fear block your frequency. Don't let the opinions of small minds keep you from the divine supply waiting for you. You've waited long enough. You've struggled long enough. You've tried everything the old way. And now you are ready for the God way. This is the system where favor is currency, where energy is your strategy, where peace is your compass, and where money is no longer the problem, it's the partner. You've stepped into a new dimension, a new paradigm, and this is only the beginning. Watch what unfolds when you fully say yes. You are now stepping into a reality where money doesn't intimidate you, it responds to you. This isn't the kind of wealth that feels distant, elusive, or hard-earned through suffering. This is wealth that feels natural, rightful, and effortless because it flows from your alignment with the divine system. The rules are no longer the same. What used to take years now takes months. What used to feel impossible now arrives with ease. Because the truth is, you've already paid your dues, not in currency, but in transformation. You had to walk through the silence when no one understood your vision. You had to carry dreams that others laughed at or dismissed. You had to hold faith when the evidence was invisible. And yet, you never gave up. Even in your lowest moments, something within you kept whispering, "There's more." That whisper was the voice of the new system calling you forward. Not everyone could hear it, but you did. Not everyone followed it, but you did. And now, it's your season to receive, not only spiritually, but materially. Not only in wisdom, but in wealth. There is a reason you didn't fit into the old model of success. You weren't meant to. You weren't created to climb the corporate ladder only to be spiritually empty at the top. You weren't designed to spend your life running after survival while your soul starved. That tension you felt between the outer world and your inner truth wasn't dysfunction. It was divine disruption. It was God pulling you out of the old system before it could harden your heart or steal your light. You were being preserved for a higher model, a new framework where authenticity leads to prosperity and alignment opens the floodgates of abundance. Money, in the new system, is not random, it's responsive. It doesn't reward grind, it rewards alignment. It doesn't demand sacrifice, it requires surrender. When you surrender to your true identity, when you stop pretending to be smaller than you are, the system kicks in. The flow begins. Your presence alone becomes a magnet. People start to say yes to you, not because you beg, but because your energy carries certainty. You know who you are now, and the universe does too. And this identity, it was never tied to the titles others gave you. It was never tied to your last paycheck, or your social media following, or your resume. This identity is soul deep. It existed before you had words to describe it. And now it's fully awake. That's why the resistance is crumbling. That's why money isn't blocked anymore. Because the real you has taken the lead. Not the masked version, not the afraid version. The real, whole, radiant you. The one who walks in alignment with divine timing, divine provision, and divine assignment. You've realized that you don't need to wait for permission anymore. You don't need external validation to pursue the vision that lives in your heart. And as soon as you stopped waiting, the energy began shifting. Doors opened. Opportunities emerged. People showed up. Not because you manipulated anything, but because you moved into resonance. The new system can only recognize truth. It cannot be tricked. It doesn't respond to ego. It responds to essence. And now that you're leading with essence, money is finding its way to you with zero resistance. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you already are. Every time you speak your truth, take aligned action, and follow your intuition, you're plugging into this system deeper. And the deeper you plug in, the more support you unlock. Financial support, emotional support, spiritual support. All of it is part of the design. God never intended for you to struggle endlessly. Struggle had a purpose. It made you stronger, wiser, clearer. But it was never meant to be your identity. Abundance is. And this abundance is not just for show. It's not for comparison, competition, or status. It's sacred. It's strategic. It's here to help you do what you are called to do on a higher level. It's here to accelerate your mission, to amplify your message, and to multiply your impact. Every dollar that comes to you in this new system is coded with purpose. It knows where to go, what to build, who to bless. You are not just receiving money, You are stewarding it. You are a divine banker, trusted with the currency of heaven to bring light into a world starving for it. You'll notice that things begin to come together faster. What used to be fragmented suddenly clicks into clarity. You'll remember ideas you once abandoned and realize now is the perfect time to bring them back. Because now you have the energy, now you have the vision, and now you have the support of a system that wants to see you win, not just spiritually, but fully. And no, this isn't too good to be true. It's too true to be denied. You are not fabricating this shift. You are feeling it. You can sense the energy around you changing, the heaviness lifting, the clarity increasing, the fear melting. That's how you know you've entered a new dimension. The dimension where your presence alone attracts favor. The dimension where money shows up because you do. The dimension where you no longer beg for provision, you embody it. And the best part is, you don't have to force anyone to believe this. You don't need to prove anything to people still trapped in the old system. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them doubt. Your life will speak louder than your explanations. Your elevation will be undeniable. And one day, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll simply say, I aligned with God's system. This is not a trend. This is not hype. This is the quiet, unstoppable emergence of chosen ones stepping into their divine inheritance. You were not skipped. You were not forgotten. You were being positioned, hidden for a reason, cultivated in silence. And now, the moment of revelation has come. Your gifts are no longer overlooked. Your heart is no longer broken. Your finances are no longer chaotic. Everything is falling into place because you finally stopped pretending and chose alignment. And from here on out, nothing will be the same. There is a stillness in your spirit now, a knowing that no matter what's happening around you, something within you has permanently shifted. You're not just hoping things will get better, you're watching them get better. Every day, something new aligns. Every interaction begins to carry a different energy. It's not luck, it's not random. It's the divine code within you unlocking real-time manifestations. This is what happens when you align with the system that was always meant for you. The delays stop making sense. The waiting ends. The struggle no longer feels normal because you've entered a new normal, one where wealth flows not from pressure, but from presence. The world may still be running on the old frequency, scarcity, panic, greed, but you're operating on another level now. And from this level, you see clearly what others can't yet see. You understand that wealth is not about storage, but about stewardship. You understand that abundance is not about excess, but about alignment. That's why money no longer intimidates you. It trusts you. It recognizes you. And you, chosen one, have become a vessel it can move through freely. This divine system isn't about constant hustle. In fact, many of your biggest breakthroughs will come through stillness, through divine downloads, through moments when you're simply at peace. When you stop trying to control everything, you create space for the supernatural to move. Your obedience to rest is just as powerful as your willingness to act. In this system, rest is not laziness, it's strategy. Silence is not stagnation, it's divine preparation. You are not falling behind, you're being launched. You've already noticed the change in how you make decisions. You no longer choose from fear, you choose from alignment. You no longer ask, what's the safest option? But instead, what feels true to my soul? And with every soul-aligned decision, the universe conspires in your favor. Meetings are divinely timed. Ideas flow effortlessly. Resources show up precisely when needed. You are no longer chasing money. Money is finding you through the path of least resistance. You've become a frequency match for abundance. You're being trusted with more now because you've proven your heart is right. You didn't fold under pressure. You didn't become bitter in the dark. You didn't sell your essence for temporary applause. You stayed true to the calling, even when you had no clue how it would all work out. And that's why this new flow of financial energy is irreversible. Because it's no longer just about you. It's about everything your blessing will build. The ideas, the businesses, the support, the healing. You're now resourced to create all of it. Don't be surprised when people start asking, "How did you do it?" Don't be shocked when others begin to notice your glow. The difference in your life will be so tangible, so undeniable, that even those who once doubted you will be drawn in. Not because you forced it, not because you convinced them, but because there is an undeniable aura on someone who walks in full alignment with divine wealth. You'll no longer need to prove your worth. Your presence will prove it for you. This is the emergence of a new leader. Not a leader who controls, but one who empowers. Not a leader who chases power, but one who channels divine influence. You are this leader. You are this light. You are this living signal that the old is crumbling and the new is here. You're not loud, but you're powerful. You don't beg, but you command. Not from arrogance, but from assurance. You know who you are now. And when you know, everything changes. The habits you once had that repelled abundance, those are dissolving. The beliefs that said, "I'm not enough, it's too late," or "I'm not qualified," they're fading. Because the truth is louder now. The truth is stronger. The truth is that you were born for overflow. And this overflow is not chaotic. It's clean. It doesn't drown you. It lifts you. It doesn't make you lose yourself. It returns you to yourself. You were always meant to rise above the noise of this world, the fear, the gossip, the distractions. And now you're rising. Not by force, but by grace. You're not trying to be seen anymore. You are being seen. Not because you demanded attention, but because your energy is undeniable. And this energy carries the frequency of wealth, the blueprint of divine prosperity, and the power to activate others. Your success is no longer personal. It's prophetic. It speaks to generations. It rewrites stories. It breaks cycles. It sets a new standard. You are not just getting rich. You're getting aligned. And that alignment rewires the system, not just for you, but for everyone connected to you. You're not just making money. You're changing the meaning of money for everyone who sees you. And don't worry, this new season doesn't require you to lose yourself. You won't need to abandon your peace to gain prosperity. You won't need to compromise your soul to keep up. In fact, the more peaceful you are, the more prosperous you become. That's the divine reversal. In the old system, people had to trade peace for wealth. In this system, peace creates wealth. Calm creates clarity. Rest creates results. And trust unlocks everything. You're no longer dependent on systems built to limit you. You are plugged into a source that never runs out. You are tapped into a current that constantly supplies. You don't fear downturns anymore, because your wealth doesn't come from the market. It comes from alignment. You don't fear missed opportunities anymore, because you know what's meant for you won't pass you by. You're not afraid of change, because you know the only direction life is taking you now is forward. This new path will demand a deeper level of trust. There will be moments when the old patterns try to return. Fear may whisper again. Doubt may knock. But now you know better. Now you recognize the voice of lack. and you don't entertain it anymore. You're not trying to convince yourself you're abundant. You are abundant. You're not trying to believe in overflow. You live in overflow. And because of that, nothing can stop what's unfolding. This divine system is not just giving you money, it's giving you mastery. You're learning how to handle wealth with wisdom, how to circulate money with purpose, how to speak to your finances with authority. You are no longer shocked when a blessing arrives. You expect it. You are no longer desperate for provision. You are aware it's already done. That awareness changes everything. It shifts your posture. It shapes your mindset. It attracts new levels of support, favor, and opportunity. This is only the beginning. What you've received so far is just a glimpse of what's coming. The small wins were just rehearsals. The breakthroughs you've seen were just previews. Now, the main event is starting. The full unlocking, the complete release, the total flood of divine provision and purpose that was held in reserve for this exact moment. And it's not coming because you begged. It's coming because you became. You've crossed a threshold that very few dare to cross. Not because they're unworthy, but because they never stopped long enough to hear the invitation. But you heard it. You responded. You let go of what was comfortable. You released identities that were never really yours. And now, you're walking through life differently. You're walking with open hands, knowing that whatever leaves was never part of the divine equation. And whatever arrives is aligned, timed, and tailored to your evolution. This system isn't chaotic. It's precise. It doesn't guess. It knows. It knows what you need before you say it. It moves things into position before your logical mind catches up. The people you're meant to meet are already being prepared. The money you're meant to receive is already in motion. The environments you're meant to enter are being cleansed and cleared. You're not stepping into rooms by chance. You're being placed there by design. And it's not just about receiving money, it's about who you become in the process. You're no longer ruled by numbers. You're no longer shaken by digits in a bank account. Because your identity has detached from financial fluctuations. You've become anchored in a deeper truth. You are the access point. You are the portal. Money flows to you because you are the path of least resistance. You're no longer blocking it with self-doubt, guilt, or unworthiness. You've cleared the clutter, and the divine supply recognizes the signal. That's why money is moving toward you now. Not because you're louder, not because you're chasing it, but because your frequency is clean. It's congruent. There's no more war inside you between desire and worth. There's no more internal conflict about receiving too much. You've made peace with the fact that you were born to live fully resourced. Not because you're better than others, but because you've surrendered to your calling more deeply than most are willing to. You're not trying to be perfect. You're just being real. And the system responds to real. It responds to integrity, not image. It responds to truth, not performance. And your truth is powerful now. It carries weight. You don't need to over-explain yourself. You don't need to overwork to feel valuable. You've embodied a silent authority that turns heads and shifts atmospheres. People may not know what's changed, but they can feel it. You've become a carrier of divine order, and that order is attracting divine compensation. You're beginning to notice that things just work out for you. What once felt like delays are now divine detours. What once seemed like obstacles are now revealed as initiations. You're no longer afraid of contrast because you've mastered your response to it. You don't panic when things appear uncertain. You pause, you breathe, and you remember, this system doesn't work like the world's. In this system, every twist has a purpose. Every challenge sharpens your discernment. Every disruption upgrades your awareness. There are miracles on your timeline right now that don't need to be earned. They only need to be accepted. And acceptance is the new currency. Not struggle, not force, just alignment and agreement. When you agree with your divine timeline, the supply chain of heaven activates. Suddenly, things that were stuck begin to move. Conversations flow, opportunities unlock, and money comes not just as a currency, but as a carrier of momentum. Let's be clear. This is not passive living. This is powerful alignment. You're not sitting back waiting for blessings to fall. You're moving with conviction. You're taking steps of faith. You're listening closely. You're executing ideas with precision. But you're not driven by fear. You're moved by resonance. And when you move from resonance, everything you touch carries favor. This level of favor doesn't just benefit you. It spills over. It blesses those around you. It shifts the energy of the spaces you walk into. People don't just see you. They feel uplifted by your presence. Because you're not walking alone anymore. You're walking with an entire frequency that echoes with divine abundance. And everything you speak from this frequency comes to life. You're learning how to speak to money differently now. Not from desperation, but from identity. You're learning how to assign purpose to every dollar, how to charge your transactions with clarity and joy, how to use your finances as an extension of your spirit, not as a mask for your fears. This is a sacred relationship now. It's no longer about getting more. It's about doing more with what you receive. You are a conduit, and your hands are open, not to grasp, but to give, build, circulate, and multiply. The money coming to you now carries no sorrow. It comes with light. It comes with peace. It doesn't haunt you with anxiety or guilt. It doesn't come to own you. It comes to serve you. And because you've cleaned your inner house, you're able to steward it with clarity. You're not hoarding out of fear. You're planning from vision. You're not overspending to numb emotion. You're investing from wisdom. This is emotional wealth. This is spiritual mastery. This is divine financial intelligence, and it's being downloaded to you. Expect the pace of your life to quicken, but not with stress, with alignment. You'll get more done in less time because the resistance is gone. You'll make decisions faster because your inner voice is clearer. You'll create with ease because you're not second-guessing yourself anymore. The clutter has fallen away. The confusion has dissolved. The fog has lifted. And what's left is clarity, conviction, and cash flow. The people who couldn't see you before will start to notice. Not because you changed your appearance, but because your frequency became undeniable. You don't need to impress anymore. You just need to be. And that being, that pure, fully aligned version of you, is the wealthiest version of all. They carry presence. They radiate power. They magnetize miracles without trying. You're no longer just dreaming. You're doing. And not from exhaustion, but from overflow. You've tasted what it's like to live under divine management, and you'll never go back to striving. You'll never go back to begging for what was already written for you. You've remembered your role in this new economy. You're not the outsider trying to break in. You're the originator, the atmosphere setter, the financial prophet in a world still trapped in fear. And as you continue walking in this awareness, you'll see how deeply supported you are. Not just by money, but by momentum. Not just by people, but by principles. You're standing on unshakable ground. The winds may blow, but they will not move you. You're planted too deep. You're anchored too strong. You are immovable because you are aligned. And alignment is the highest protection. It moves you away from distractions. It fast-tracks your destiny with laser precision. There is no need to doubt anymore. The evidence is catching up with the inner truth you've already known. What once seemed like invisible faith is now becoming visible form. You're watching your inner reality reshape your outer life. And what's remarkable is how natural it feels. You're not shocked by the alignment. You're deeply at peace with it. Because deep down, you always knew this moment would come. You always sensed that your story would shift. And now that it's here, you're not overwhelmed. You're ready. This isn't temporary success. This is divine establishment. You're not climbing a ladder. You're stepping onto a platform that was built for you long before you arrived. This platform doesn't shake under pressure. It doesn't crack under criticism. Because it's not man-made, it's God-authored. And everything that stands on it is fortified by truth, love, and divine assignment. You are no longer susceptible to manipulation. The old tactics don't work on you anymore. The false urgency, the manufactured scarcity, the fear-based systems, they fall flat because your discernment has become your shield. You can smell out inauthenticity. You can sense hidden agendas. And because you're aligned, you no longer match with manipulation. You only match with momentum. You're no longer afraid to be visible. You're no longer worried about being seen. Not because you need attention, but because you finally understand your light has a function. Your presence is an answer to someone's prayer. Your voice carries a solution that someone has been searching for. And when you rise, others rise. This is the chain reaction of alignment. Wealth touches your hands, and it touches generations through you. This is why you had to go through the stripping season, the empty moments, the confusing delays, because your character had to be purified to carry this kind of favor. Your motives had to be cleansed, so you wouldn't misuse the power now resting on you. The preparation wasn't punishment. It was proof that your calling was always serious. And now that you've passed through the fire, you emerge not just approved, but appointed. By now, you've realized that your connection to wealth was never meant to be complicated. It was always meant to be intuitive, peaceful, and aligned with your essence. You were never supposed to chase what you were destined to attract. You were never supposed to beg for what you were born to embody. The distortion came from external conditioning, from systems that needed you to forget who you are, just so they could maintain control. But the moment you remembered your true source, the moment you reawakened to your divine design, the illusion began to crumble. And what stands now is truth, stable, unshakable, expansive. This truth is that you are a chosen one, and money responds to your alignment, not to your effort alone. This system doesn't demand burnout. It doesn't reward overexertion. It honors wholeness. It respects integrity. It multiplies energy that is clean, clear, and grounded in purpose. And this is the energy you now radiate. You may have noticed that the more you align, the less you tolerate what once drained you. You've stopped settling for connections that dishonor your value. You've stopped entertaining opportunities that feel forced. You've stopped trying to squeeze yourself into spaces that were never built to hold you. That's not ego. That's elevation. That's what happens when you rise into the rhythm of divine economy. And this rhythm is not frantic. It's fluid. It's alive. It moves in seasons, in cycles, in spirals of growth and refinement. You've entered a system that upgrades you from the inside out. As you evolve, your financial reality mirrors that evolution. You're not waiting for abundance. You're expressing it in everything you touch. From the way you speak to the way you breathe, from your posture to your presence, you are now a walking frequency of prosperity. And the universe takes note. It responds to your tone, your decisions, your consistency. You're not manifesting sporadically anymore. You're flowing consistently. Your days are charged with purpose. Your nights are filled with clarity. You're not fighting to hold it together. You're watching it fall into place, naturally, effortlessly, faithfully, because you've finally said yes to the design you were made for. You've realized now that money is not the goal. It's the result. It's the echo of your alignment, the confirmation of your clarity. And when you focus on your energy, your intention, your truth, money flows without tension, without delay, because the supply is infinite and you've opened yourself fully to receive it. This shift is not subtle, it's seismic. You feel it in your bones. You sense it when you enter a room. Your energy no longer asks for permission. It confirms presence. You don't have to announce what's happening. Your alignment makes it obvious. The room shifts because you carry the new system within you. The room shifts because your spirit has become undeniable. The best part? It keeps getting better. This isn't a temporary high. This is a permanent upgrade. Every part of your being is being upgraded. Your thoughts, your relationships, your language, your lifestyle. You've stepped into the architecture of abundance. And every step you take now builds something eternal. You're no longer a wanderer. You're a builder, a creator, a multiplier of divine energy, flowing through wealth. So yes, expect increase, expect clarity, expect sudden alignment, massive provision, and wave after wave of breakthroughs. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you're finally flowing with everything. This is not a coincidence. It's your confirmation. The signs were all around you, the nudges, the dreams, the inner urges to go deeper, to move differently, to expect more. And you listened. Now you'll witness what happens when obedience meets abundance, when alignment meets acceleration, when the divine system overtakes the outdated one and replaces it with rhythm, flow, and financial ease. The world may still function in stress and striving, but you no longer do. You've chosen the higher path, and that path has chosen you back. This is your time, the time where the struggle ends and the strategy of heaven begins, the time where you stop asking if you're ready and start acting like you are. No more shrinking, no more explaining, no more postponing your greatness. The system is live, the flow is active, and you, chosen one, are fully inside it now. You've reached the point of no return, and that is a gift. This isn't about pretending anymore. This isn't about trying to convince the world or yourself that you're enough. You know you are. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. Not in ego, but in essence. The evidence is clear. The provision is real. The breakthroughs are consistent. You've activated a frequency that cannot be turned off because it's not borrowed. It's built. It's encoded into your spirit now. It's you. And now, the system, God's new system, knows it can trust you with more visibility, more wealth, more reach, more responsibility. Because your foundation is truth. You're not moved by noise. You don't crumble under criticism. You don't get lost in comparison. You've risen past that. You know that the true currency isn't money, it's mastery. Mastery of your energy. Mastery of your attention. Mastery of your intention. And from that mastery, all forms of wealth flow naturally. You're not attached to outcomes anymore. You don't chase, you choose. You don't force, you attract. And what you attract is not random, it's righteous, because your vibration speaks before you do, and your vibration is saying, I'm ready, I'm aligned, I'm here. You've become the proof that divine wealth is not a fantasy. It's a frequency. You've become a leader, not just by title, but by transformation. A silent storm, a walking activation. Every room you enter is blessed by your presence. Not because you dominate, but because you don't have to. You carry peace, and that peace rearranges chaos. You carry vision, and that vision breaks confusion. You carry divine currency, and that currency moves mountains. That's why money finds you now. Not for vanity, but for vision. You are the system now. You used to wonder if you were enough. Now, you wonder how much more you can hold. You used to pray for crumbs. Now, you manage overflow. You used to feel left behind. Now, you're leading timelines. This is not a coincidence. This is what divine reversal looks like. The last have become first. The hidden have become seen. The overlooked have become the overflowed. And now that you're here, you realize this isn't even about money. It never really was. It's about remembering your power, about reclaiming your divine identity, about dissolving the illusion of separation, about embodying heaven on earth through every choice you make. Money is just the signal, the smoke from the fire you now carry. It's not the destination. It's the side effect of living on purpose, in power, in peace. There's no need to prove anymore. Just receive. Just move. Just create. Just speak. Just be. Because who you are, at this level, in this frequency, is more than enough. It's magnetic. It's eternal. It's untouchable by the systems that once oppressed you. You've risen above, not to escape, but to lead. Not to boast, but to bless. Not to hoard, but to pour out from the overflow that now defines your life. So let the world watch. Let them wonder how it's happening. Let them ask how you rose with such grace, with such force, with such clarity. And let your life answer, I aligned with the divine. I remembered who I am. I stopped chasing and started commanding. I plugged into God's system, and I became the access point. This is your confirmation. This is your coronation. This is your call to continue. The money is already yours. The path is already paved. The system is already active. And chosen one, you are already everything. Now rise.